Well, good evening everyone and welcome to Moscow Raceway for the 7th round of the Crest Autosport in alliance with NXTGEN Racing World Touring Car Challenge. The series brought to you by the two organisations as well as the sponsors and affiliates helping us along the journey: Apex Traxs, PowerMax Racing, Track Racer, Fast R, 603 Autosport and Joyce Design. Tonight, on the 4th of November, is Moscow Raceway Round 7 of the Championship. We are ascending into the second half of the season tonight, and here at Moscow in the Volokolansky district, I can never say it, do excuse me, 100 kilometers west of the capital of Moscow is this circuit, 650 kilometers southeast of St. Petersburg, and 1,700 kilometers north of the regular Formula 1 venue of Russia, Sochi. This track opened in 2012 and has hosted the World Touring Car Championship 4 times since 2013. It has nearly 18 different layouts, all that are used by some series in some way, shape or another, at least once throughout the year. Some facts about Russia: it's the biggest country in the world, spanning the full width of Asia and more than a quarter of Europe to include that. If you crunched up Russia into a ball, it would still be bigger than the dwarf planet Pluto. Russian is the eighth most spoken language in the world. 258 million people speaking the language worldwide, and it's the 9th most populated country of the world. Tonight here at Moscow Raceway, we're racing the FIM layout. No idea what FIM stands for, but it's the layout that the World Touring Cars raced on all them years ago. 2.4 miles or 3.9 kilometres, if that's your measurement system, and it only costs £2.52 to buy on RaceRoom. It's quite an old track when it comes to the RaceRoom circuits. It was one of the first to come along on the sim. 13 turns, which could be argued on this circuit, could be 15, could be 13, but 5 corners to the right to count and 8 to the left. And tonight we have got World Touring Car action. These cars which raced at this track every single year that they featured. We have the 2015, 2016 and 2017 World Touring Car categories, including 4 manufacturers that consist of the Chevrolet Cruze, the Honda Civic, the Lada Vesta and the Volvo S60 Polestar. The itinerary for tonight: we have plenty of racing, nearly an hour's worth of competitive driving for these drivers. Qualifying coming up in just over 5 minutes time on the hour of 8 o'clock GMT, not +1, and race 1 is coming up almost straight after qualifying, a 15-minute sprint race where the grid will be based on the results of qualifying, of course. Almost immediately after race 1 will be race 2, another 15-minute sprint race where the grid for that race will be based on the results of race 1, but the top 10 will be reversed. There'll be an intermission in between races 2 and 3. For race 3 will be a 25-minute feature race where the grid will be based on the results of race 2, but the top 18 will be reversed. As we mentioned, we are in the second half of the season now. All them weeks ago, back in mid-September, was the first round of the season at Monza in Italy. And then it was round 2 at Paul Ricard. Round 3 hosted at Spa-Francorchamps, followed by Slovakia Ring for round 4 of the championship. Round 5 was hosted at the Hungaroring in Hungary, and we were in Austria for round 6 of the season at the Salzburg Ring. We had a week off last week, but we're back this week and we're continuing every week until the end. The 4th of November today, we're here in Russia for the Moscow Raceway, and then we set off out of Europe for the first time in the whole year, actually, in Crest Autosport RaceRoom League's history. NXTGEN Racing, not so much, but Crest Autosport will be the first time we venture out of Europe for the series. Sonoma Raceway will host next week's round. 2 weeks from today will be the Twin Ring Motegi in Japan, and then the 10th round of the season will be at Shanghai in China. Round 11 of the championship, the penultimate round will be hosted at Chang in Thailand, and the Nordschleife 24-hour layout will host the final round of the championship on the 9th of December. What a Christmas present that's going to be for all of us. Competitive racing on the green hell. You can still get involved in the series if you wish to. You can enter the series by going to crestautosport.com or nextgenracing.co.uk. Thursday night racing being hosted for the next 6 weeks to see us out for the season, see us out for the year. There is news coming up in the next couple of weeks on what next season is going to bring for Crest Autosport and NXTGEN Racing RaceRoom Leagues. And of course, we mentioned them already, but a big thank you to our sponsors of this championship, Apex Traxs, who are providing the prize for the winning driver of the Drivers' Championship. model sculpture of the Nordschleife presented to the driver who wins the championship, as well as the top 3 in the Pro and Am categories will be presented with plaques for their achievements in their categories for scoring for achieving top 3 results in the championships, provided by Uncle Luke's Sign and Sticker Shop. We join the live action here at Moscow Raceway, and we'll get a little bit more housekeeping over and done with before we get into the thick of the action. We got 3.5 minutes before qualifying, so here's a reminder of how things went last time out at Salzburg Ring 2 weeks ago. Feels so long ago, but really it wasn't. But it was a Lada fest yet again at Salzburg Ring, quite a high speed track, so it really did suit the Lada. Top 3 for the Ladas in qualifying, and the top 3 for the Warrior Motorsport drivers. William Berera, Neil Crave and Zenko getting top 3 in qualifying and repeating it in the race. Race 2. Fortune didn't meet the Ladas, as the Honda of Ian Deeney took the win there, battling ferociously with Jürgen Madsby Pedersen, who put on quite a show in that race. And Jeff Burke is rounding off the podium. Race 3, Elliott House took the victory there with Neil Crave in 2nd and David Kernahan in 3rd position. And this is what the championship standings looked like coming into tonight's round. William Berera leading away on 510 points, and bear in mind this is the championship results after one of 2 drop rounds have been implemented now into the season. The second drop round will be implemented after round 11 later in the season, but this is with 1 drop round implemented. Lee Horn in 2nd place on 488 points. He has 22 points to claw back on William Berera now with that drop round implemented. David Kernahan in 3rd place. What a season he is having. Now there's a drop round in place. He has caught up because he missed the first round of the season. He is only 15 points behind Lee Horn. Neil Crave in 4th place, followed by Jeff Perkis. Rounding off the top 5, Jamie Dory is in 6th position. He didn't have such a good meeting at Salzburg Ring. He'll be looking to better himself today, definitely. Race winner at Salzburg Ring, Ian Deeney in 7th place, followed by Heike Navalov, who hasn't won a race yet this season. Alex Ward in 9th, followed by Elliott House. Something to bear in mind with the top 10 in this championship is it also decides what ballast each driver carries into qualifying, race 1 and race 2 of this round tonight. So William Berera, being top of the championships table, will carry the most ballast of 40 kilos, and it will run down across the top 10 in increments of 4. Also have a team's championship to follow, and I know you can't really tell which drivers are who in here, but I can tell you quite easy enough. Lada Sport Rosneft 2016 is basically the Warrior Motorsport drivers in William Berera, Neil Crave and Matt Zenko. So they're doing very, very well at the top of the table. 158 points clear of 2nd place Munich Motorsport 2016, which is piloted by Lee Horn and Alex Ward. And in 3rd place is the Honda Team JAS 2017 team, which is piloted by Ian Deeney and Heike Navalov. We also have an AM category championship to follow. As we mentioned, there are plaques available for the AM category championship top 3. Elliott House is leading the way. He is on 326 points. He was leading by a bit more, but a penalty following the Salzburg Ring race dropped him down the standings and dropped him a few points. 13 points clear of Ollie Janssen in 2nd place, and in 3rd place is Stephen de Gravelia on 262 points. And that is the housekeeping over and done with, and it cues us very, very nicely for qualifying coming up in just a few seconds' time. As we mentioned, we have 15 minutes of qualifying coming up in a few seconds' time, and it will follow with a warm-up, but race 1 will follow a 15-minute sprint race, and another 15-minute sprint race will follow almost immediately after race 1, and there will be a 25-minute feature race later on in the night. Plenty of racing to watch tonight. More than an hour's worth of racing to watch with these drivers. And we're about to get underway here for qualifying, and out onto the track head the drivers. And this is William Berera, championship leader, leading his way out of the pits. And the practice results, we didn't really have a chance to go through them. Not that it matters too much, but Jeff Perkis top of the standings. Jeff Perkis on 5th in the championship, and he had a pretty good round at Salzburg Ring. Lots of good overtakes, he reminded me earlier on. And he'll be looking for a good round tonight, will Jeff Perkis. But William Berera, championship leader, needs to resume service with a nice week break last week. Back in action this week. 17 drivers out there, by the way. And what a corner we're witnessing there, as William Berera shows us. Turn 7 on this track has a very sharp crest, and you actually will see the drivers go airborne going through there. It's going to be very exciting to watch the drivers there. What have we got on track at the moment? A lot of drivers still in the pits at the moment, choosing to go out a little bit later. It's not a very long lap here at Moscow Raceway. At the same time, it's not a very short track. There's not many short tracks on this calendar. As William Berera weaves across the track to warm up his tyres, even more ready for flying lap here. Very long straight here at Moscow Raceway. And in fact, our championship leader is going to give us an onboard here at Moscow. And bearing in mind the Lada is a Russian car, they're on home turf today. Will that present an advantage? We'll find out. So out of the final corner we go here at Moscow Raceway. Across the start-finish line we go, and we'll head towards the first corner of the circuit. The left-hander not quite flat out, taking plenty of inside curb and taking plenty of outside curb. Into turn 2, a double apex corner, making sure you hit that second curb, which is the sharper of the two. Then out to the left and a long sweeping right-hander for turn 3 here, taking an early apex, bleeding it out to the left to take a nice deep entrance into the exit of turn 3 there. Nice straight exit is what you need in these cars, which really understeer when you put the power down. Double apex turn 4, now into turn 5 and turn 6. And now up the hill we go. This is the crest we're going to go over. Normally there's a chicane on our left. We're going to go straight over the hill, nearly airborne, into turn 7. It out nice and wide. Into turn 8 we go, one of the most difficult corners as it's downhill braking and goes into a bit of a dip, taking plenty of the inside curb there as we go around turn 9 into turn 10. Another long left-hander, very slow corners on this circuit. Down to first gear then for William Berera. To the next corner we go. This is turn 11 and into turn 12 now. Another long right-hander as we pull out onto the long straight here at Moscow Raceway, which spans most of the width of the circuit. Up the gears we go, past 200 kilometers per hour into 5th gear. Eventually we'll get into 6th gear and we'll break down heavy down the gears into 2nd or 3rd gear for the final corner. Not quite into 6th gear, but down the gears go into 1st gear. Actually, William Berera uses, powers out of the corner. Looked so smooth through that final corner. And across the line we go. William Berera puts himself to the top of the standings, having been the first to set a time here. That is a 1:38.8 for the Italian driver. Across the line goes Neil Crave, his teammate. He puts himself on the board for 2nd place. 3rd place now as Ollie Hansen. Pretty good starting lap from him in my favourite livery, as I keep telling you every single week, my favourite livery on the circuit. David Kernahan on the board with 4th place. He's 3rd in the championship with Ian Deeney, who's just put himself into 6th place. He won race 2, remember, last time out at the Salzburg Ring. Stephen de Grevelia putting himself on the board in 7th. Lee Horn puts himself across the line and into 2nd he goes, following his teammate Jamie Dory around that lap. Jamie Dory didn't set a valid lap time. He must have gone over the track limits. But Lee Horn, a good strong lap there, still half a second down from William Berera. Berera really has been the king of qualifying this season. He's had 5 pole positions, but hasn't always converted into wins. He's had 4 wins this season and 8 top 8s. I mean, that's why he is top of the standings, but the all-out pace of William Berera is undeniable. But converting it to wins, the other drivers beg to differ. 18 drivers in the server at the moment. Lots of larders out there. I'm just going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 larders out in the field of the 18 cars. Nearly half of the field. as William Berera will set another time here. It's not a very good time. He must have backed off in the second sector, 1.5 seconds down. So easy enough to go for it on this next lap. It's not a track that's particularly fierce on the tyres. As David Kernahan puts himself third, that is where he is in the championship. The top 3 there are the same as the top 3 in the championship. In fact, the top 5 are exactly the same as the championship standings. Quite impressive. This is good stuff from Ollie Jansen at the moment, 6th right now, and a welcome back also to his compatriot, Jonas Lindberg. He's missed a few races this season, but 2nd place in the Euro TCR last season. In 7th place, a welcome back to him. Roy Plummer, welcome back to him. He missed Salzburg Ring. He was leading the AM category championship, but a few races missed here and there. Drops down the order a little bit. 69 points down from Elliott House. He'll be looking to retain his AM category championship win from last season to this season. At the moment, he's 12th in the standings. William Berera, outright best in Sector 1. Can't deny the Lada is going to be very, very good here on home turf. Quite a few twisty corners, so powering out the corners is something the Lada can do very, very well. And down this main straight, it's certainly going to be an advantage compared to the Chevrolets. Lee Horn did better his time on the previous lap. I think that's it wasn't De Grevelier, that was Balcio. Angelo Balcio pulling over to the side there. Lee Horn is bettering his time, has bettered his time on his previous lap, and is bettering his time now. Outright best in Sector 1. Now, the Chevrolet will be very, very good in Sectors 1 and 2 here, but Sector 3 will be where it lets itself down. Jeff Perkins has put himself into 3rd place and has gone outright best in Sector 1. William Berera reset and went to the pits. He must have had a difficult final sector. You see Jamie Dory weaving around there, trying to warm up his tyres, even though he's trying to back off from Lee Horn a little bit. He's not disturbing anyone's route down the track, so he's well within his right to do that. It's when somebody gets close to you that you can't do that. And Lee Horn, his Sector 2 time hasn't appeared, so that means he's invalidated his lap. Let's have a look at Jamie Dory. I mean, he was weaving all over the back straight, so he's still yet to set a valid time, as is Zenko and Mark Arrowsmith. Going over the crest. Oh, and it goes very wide there at turn 7. And that'll be an invalidated time. He'll have to try again. I think this might actually be an outlap for William Berera. Yeah, we saw him come out of the pits. So, warming up his tyres. Definitely doing that, but going a bit wide at turn 7 there. Using a lot of the track and more here to try. I will wager that he's trying to use a lot of power in that front end to warm up the front tyres a little bit more. As Jeff Perkins in a Lada puts himself 2nd place, just crossed the line. He's only 2/10 down, and Matej Zenko has put himself into 8th place. What about Lee Horn? What can he do? Jeff Perkins was great in practice, setting the fastest time of them all. Can he repeat himself here? He's gone back to the pits to go back out on track and set another time as Lee Horn goes wide, coming out of turn 11. I think so. And that will invalidate his time. He'll have to do another, and the same again here. I think he's trying to get out of the way of Jamie Dory. He might be on a good lap here. I think so. It's a very small Sector 3 here. All it is this long straight in the final corner. This isn't a bad lap from Jamie Dory. It'll put him on the board, and it'll put him near the top 5, I think. Got a bit of a slipstream down the back straight, which for these Chevrolets is very useful. Oh, he didn't use all the road coming out of the final corner there. I'm not sure why. And he comes across the line, 7th place for Jamie Dory. It might not have been as good a final sector as he wanted, but 7th place, it puts him on the grid, and it puts him fairly high up on the grid. Who else we got? Zenko in 9th. Two drivers in the pits, Stephen De Grevelier and Elliott House, both of the AM category. Highest of the AM category at the moment is Ollie Jansen in 6th place. A brilliant, brilliant qualifying for him so far. As that was pulling over to the side, Coleman Corkery letting Ollie Jansen go. Coleman in 16th at the moment. And he'll be looking to follow the slipstream of Ollie Jansen to get a very good time with the help of some slipstream. Neil Crave outright best in Sector 1, and what a time that is in Sector 1. Not using all the roads coming out of the corner there, you don't need to. Going over the crest, and you can see how sharp that crest is. And that looks very, very good. Almost sideways going across the crest there was Neil Crave. Very flamboyant indeed. Through the twisty section here, as we mentioned, this will be Chevrolet territory, Sectors 1 and 2. For Sector 3, that ladder will just be dominating the field. Quite a long sector is this, Sector 2, nearly a minute in length. And it's just left, right, and it keeps going. But it's very good for touring car action. You get a lot of cars going through these corners side by side, and there's a lot of undercut attempts on this track in Sector 2 in particular, but not such a good Sector 2 from Neil Crave. He loses a lot of time there, still a personal best, but not quite as good as William Berera at the moment. Let's see how Sector 3 fares. Final corner, and across the line will go Neil Crave, and that puts him third. Not a bad lap at all. It puts him ahead of one of his championship rivals, Lee Horn, and closer to his teammate, and closer to his rival back in fifth in the championship behind him, Jeff Purkis. So it was a real Royal Rumble between the top 5 here in the championship. They're all in the top 5 of the standings here in qualifying. Coleman Corkery on a personal best in Sectors 1 and 2. Let's see if he can get himself a little bit further up the order with this time. It might put him around about 13th. 16th now, 13th. After that completion, puts him higher up the order, closer to Ian Deeney. Lee Horn with a outright best in Sector 1. Not quite as good as Neil Crave's lap we saw. But Sector 2 might be better. He's got a little bit of a slipstream from Jamie Dory as well. Down this back straight, as we mentioned, that's going to help indeed. It was that 2 wides coming out of turn 14. No, it's not turn 14. Minus 2, 12. And it was an invalidated time there, going a bit too wide through turn 12. Roy Plummer, 14th, bettering his times in the sectors. Up 1 place past Coleman Corkery, back into 13th goes Roy Plummer. Everyone's set a time now. Oh, again, a little bit out of shape coming out of turn 1 there. Oh, and look at that. First sector time from Jeff Purkis. That's very impressive indeed. Not much time left. So as drivers start crossing the line, they'll be conscious of the time. We say this every week. It is not like any of the sim race room. Once that timer goes to 0, that is it. Qualifying is over. You will not be allowed to complete your lap if you're on a lap. You will not be able to do another lap. As soon as that time is to 0, that's it, qualifying is over. And if you look at the times there, in between 2:38 and 1:42, so that's the timer. It's getting very close to qualifying completion. So if we take a quick look at the map, Matej Zenko is crossing the line. He won't be able to do this full lap. So a lot of drivers will be completing their stints now. Across the line goes Ollie Hansen. He stays 7th. And also crossing the line then was Coleman Corkery. He stays 14th. Let's see who else is coming around. Mark Arrowsmith and the championship leader. Arrowsmith will come across the line. This is an invalidated lap time. He will stay 18th. William Berera pulls into the pits. He thinks he's done enough. Jeff Purkis, might he have done enough to put himself into pole position? He might have. William Berera won't be aware of this, and yes, he does. Jeff Purkis takes pole position here at Moscow Raceway. What a lap from the Brit. Incredible to take it at the dying moments here. We've got a few drivers coming through. Roy Plummer, let's take a look to him. Oh, this is not looking very good in sectors 1 or 2. This will stay 13th. Yes, it will. Roy Plummer in 13th. Fraser Rostant approaching the final corner here. And personal best in sectors 1 and 2. Across the line went Ian Deeney then to pit. Fraser Rostant's 10th, but Fraser Rostant will cross the line, stays 11th. You've got Stephen de Gravelia approaching him, but this is the end actually of qualifying. There's not much time. There's a few position swaps there, but Jeff Purkis in the final moments of qualifying pips William Berera to pole position. On the second row will be Neil Crave and Lee Horn. David Kernahan takes 5th from Jamie Dory, Ollie Hansen and Jonas Lindberg making it a Sweden 4th row. Matej Zenko and Ian Deeney rounding off the top 10 in qualifying. before the race, we will go through the full grid, and we will keep an eye on these qualifying results later on in the night, as we will need to refer to them. But what a qualifying session we saw, and what a fantastic lap we saw there from Jeff Purkis to get pole position in the final moment of the session there. What a lap that was. Just to remind, let's get the qualifying results back up, and we'll go through the grid as well while we're at it. But Jeff Purkis there getting himself pole position by 0.15 of a second. Quite some way. Had to improve his time by about 0.3 to get there. But your grid for race 1 tonight will go as follows. Jeff Purkis will be on pole position, followed by William Berera alongside him. On the second row will be Neil Crave and Lee Horn. On the third row will be David Kernahan and Jamie Dory. The Swedes take up row 4. Ollie Hansen in 7th, Jonas Lindberg in 8th. Matej Zenko in 9th, followed by Ian Deeney alongside him. Outside the top 10, we have Fraser Rostens and Jürgen Madsby Pedersen on the 6th row. On the 7th row, we have Roy Plummer and Coleman Corkery. Stephen de Gravelia in 15th, followed by Elliot House. Andrea Balcio in 17th, with Mark Arrowsmith rounding off 18th position. We'll refer to these qualifying results a little bit later on in the night, as we will need them at some point. So let us know if you are watching on Twitch, YouTube or Facebook. And if you are on Facebook, you might be watching on the Crest Autosport page or the Next Gen Racing page. Who do you think's going to win this race? Race 1 coming up with Jeff Purkis on pole and the championship leader in 2nd place. Who's going to win this race? Is it going to be one of them two or someone else? And also, we always have a nominated Driver of the Day award. Normally it's voted by myself, but as we're getting more and more views every week, we will be turning to you guys watching on YouTube, Twitch and Facebook to give us a little bit of help in deciding the Driver of the Day. Have a little think, have a little bit of a watch throughout the night and see who catches your eye, and will achieve the Apex Traxs Driver of the Day award throughout the night. 15 minutes in race 1, 15 minutes in race 2, and 25 minutes in race 3, making it 55 minutes of racing for these drivers. Quite intense stuff in touring cars anyway. And we are about to go. Drivers will start gridding up for what will be the first race of the night of the World Touring Car Challenge by Crest Autosport and Next Gen Racing. This is round 7 here at Moscow Raceway FIM layout. On behalf of Crest Autosport and Next Gen Racing, welcome along to the channels. Do give us a like, follow, share and or subscribe from wherever you are watching. Giving us a like on the videos does help the YouTube and Facebook algorithms, so much appreciated if you do. But above all, enjoy the action tonight. That is why you're here, to watch some great touring car racing action, and you're going to get it. Pretty much every race this season has delivered. Qualifying today was exciting enough. Oh, we've just had a subscribe, actually, just as I mentioned that. Ash Fev, thank you for the subscribe on YouTube. Very much appreciated. Here we go. All the drivers are lined up. Jeff Purkis is on the left here. On the right is William Berera. We're about to go here at Moscow Raceway for race 1 of the night. Away we go. And let's see who gets the best start. It's quite hard to tell here, but it looks like Jeff Purkis has quite a good start. He has the advantage going into turn 1. Good start from Purkis. Through they go. And Neil Crave guiding off from Lee Horn by the looks of it, going into turn 2. Quite a narrow section here, so it's going to be very difficult for most drivers to make progress round here. Round they go. It seems relatively safe at the moment. Purkis goes through turn 3, the very, very tight right-hander. Not much grip in these tyres just yet for these drivers, so they're going to have to warm him up by accelerating quite hard, braking quite hard and steering quite hard through these corners to try and warm up as best they can, but the rear end is going to be quite loose, particularly as we go up this hill towards turn 7. This is where we'll see cars go airborne through the corner. Look at that. The suspension lifting off the ground. Jamie Dory with a slow down penalty, and Jamie Dory is well down. Something's happened to it at the side. He might have ended up starting from the pits by the looks of it, but he is well down the order. He was meant to start 6th. I wonder what happened to him there. Slow down penalty for him again. Oh, wide at the back there. That was David Kernahan. Needs to be very careful running off wide on this track. If you don't serve your slowdowns, you get given a stop and go penalty or drive-through penalty, one or the other. But you're seeing a lot of those slowdown penalties pop up on the right of our screen here. And a lot of these drivers are able to serve these slowdowns under braking, because there might be a lot of that tonight. Burke leads, and look at all those cars as we head down the main straight. This is the middle of it. This is Jürgen Mansby Pedersen trying a move on Fraser Rostant, and I believe he's got through, and we've got Steven de Grevelier on Fraser Rostant inside. And it's a race to the line there between them two. Grevelier on the inside, but the outside is definitely the better line through turn one, as long as you don't go off too wide, which Fraser Rostant did. A slowdown penalty for Jeff Perkis. Hopefully that won't compromise him too much. It's not where you want to lose it. Oh, and Grevelier sideways. He tried the inside. A little bit of the flash of light. He wasn't happy with Fraser Rostance there for some reason. Elliot House here battling with Ian Deeney. He's on the outside, gets washed out a little bit, and he might lose a position here to Coleman Corkery. Coleman gets in front and into 13th place. Back towards the front. Lehorn right behind Neil Crave. Crave in third place as the front two are stretching away ever so slightly. Lehorn, as we mentioned, he's in the Chevrolet. Oh, and a big hit at the rear of Neil Crave. He tried putting his car up the inside, but the door was closing. Lehorn stays fourth place for the moment, but as we mentioned earlier on, this might be Chevrolet territory in sectors 1 and 2. And I think we were seeing a little bit of that from Lehorn. He knew his car was quicker in this part of the circuit, so he's trying to utilise the space on the track as best he could. Main straight, Jeff Perkis moving across the track. He can't do that too much. Moving across the track more than one move often leads to trouble with the steward, so he needs to be very careful of that. But we know what he's trying to do. He's trying to break the slipstream from William Berera, who is quite close to him. Oh, and Lehorn trying to move on. Neil Crave there didn't quite have enough lateness on the brakes to get it up the inside. At the end of lap 2, Perkis leads from Berera, Crave in third, Horn in fourth, Kernahan in fifth. Battle between the two Swedish drivers here, joined by the Czech driver of Matej Zenko, Ollie Hansen. He's been quiet this season, really has. He hasn't been setting the world alight this season, which is odd because he was very quick in the DTMs and he was pretty quick in the Euro TCR League. But this season he's struggled to hit the heights, and today he's doing okay by the looks of it so far. Slowdown penalty for David Kernahan, and that was coming out of turn 4. Strange place to get a slowdown. Lehorn still trying on the number 7 of Neil Crave. Sporting the Sabine Schmitz livery, which he used in the Sabine Schmitz tribute race we hosted not too long after a tragic death. And ever since then he's had a bit of a love affair with this livery. Quite the fan of World Touring Cars back in the day was Lehorn. He's very proud to wear that livery. Let's see what else is going on across the field now. Jamie Dory, the comeback is going to start for him. He's up into 17th now. His target is 10th. And he's only 6 seconds back, so we might be able to reel him in if they battle more and more. And in fact, the battle for 10th place is quite close between Steven de Grevelier and Fraser Rostance. Grevelier comes out of the slipstream, ready for the final corner of turn 13. Very late on the brakes is the Chevrolet. But Fraser Rostance keeps it ahead and goes a little bit wide. Grevelier might be able to get a good undercut here, coming out the corner and coming straight back onto the track with Fraser Rostance. De Grevelier didn't expect that, although Rostance was well and truly off the track and had to come back on at some point. There's a bit of a battle going on up ahead for 6th place, which we saw previously. That was the battle for 10th we were watching. 10th is an important position, as that gets you pole position for race 2. If you finish 10th. Nothing going on at the front. They're still more than half a second apart, are Perkis and Berera. Coleman Corker is dropped down a little bit. He's battling with Roy Plummer here, and he gets himself back in front of Roy Plummer. And he's dropped down the order a little bit, has Coleman Corkery. Unfortunately, RaceRoom doesn't provide us replays. Please, Sector 3, give us replays. Coleman Corkery here. Coleman Corkery, I'm just going to give him a little mention here, is racing in the Suzuka 10 Hours on Saturday, representing Crest Autosport. He'll be representing Crest Autosport along with me. Do tune into the channel to watch it. Next Gen, I'm not sure if they're actually taking part in the Suzuka 10 Hours. If they are, I'm sure they'll let me know in the next couple of minutes or so. But yeah, a little bit of PR for us there. As we see Gravelia, no, this is Roy Plummer up the inside of Coleman Corkery, but Corkery gets the undercut and goes back through and past. Mark Arrowsmith with a good run on Roy Plummer as we approach turn 1, but Plummer has the better line for the corner. Arrowsmith backs out of it. Back towards the top 3. No move from Lee Horn yet, and actually dropping back a little bit is David Kernahan here. Oh, and Lee Horn got a bit held back there by Neil Craven. Up the inside goes David Kernahan. That was a very opportunistic move. Kernahan's in the James Thompson livery, and through the corner they go off turn 5. Now through turn 6, and Kernahan has got himself ahead. So Lee Horn really bogged down into after coming through turn 3, and Kernahan must have had a perfect line and was able to get it up the inside for turn 4. Well executed move, and now David Kernahan can set his sights on Neil Crave. Oh, and Lee Horn's not giving up straight away. He's really getting his elbows out, trying to get it back alongside these drivers today, especially Neil Crave, especially David Kernahan here. They battle too much. You've got Ollie Hansen lurking in. Ollie Hansen, as I mentioned, a quiet season for him. His best result of the season so far is 5th, and that was race 2 at Monza. Race 2, which was a bit of a shambles on an administrative point of view, because we had a little bit of a mishap with the server, and it was therefore a very long race. Ollie Hansen coped best, well, 5th best should we say, of most of them. So this will end up being his 2nd best result if he can keep it. 10th place still held by Fraser Rostons. Important position, as we mentioned, as this is reverse grid pole. Jürgen Madsby Pedersen with a good start to this race. Jürgen, to remind myself, started 12th, so he's up a fair few positions. Sorry, I had to flash that back up because I couldn't remember what the grid order was. Good old fashioned RaceRoom tools don't really provide that information for us. Oh, Fraser Rostons, I just witnessed him go very deep into turn 3. He seemed to repair it quite well. It looked like he was sideways going into the corner then. Might have been a bit deceptive there from us, our camera angle. But he's holding 10th quite well here. He seems quite content, and now getting to the front for the next race. But up front, Jeff Burke still leads the way. Nearly 2/3 of the race completed, and it's been between half a second and 1 second between him and Berera. And he is riding the livery of Yann Erlaché, the defending WTCR champion. What a journey Erlaché has had. Jeff Burke is 5th in the championship. This seems to be a track he really likes. I remember racing against Jeff Burke here in the Next Gen series a few seasons ago, and he was actually pretty good back then on this track. So one of those that Jeff seems to get along with. Jeff's one of those drivers that doesn't need much practice. He just gets in the sim and just drives. He doesn't really mess around with many practice laps. There's some drivers who can do that, there's some drivers who can't, and Jeff is one of those drivers who definitely can get in the car and just go. We have Elliott House not too far behind Ian Deeney here, battling for 12th position. Both of these drivers were winners last time out at Salzburg Ring. Ian Deeney getting the better of reverse grid pole and taking the win in race 2. No one threatening much in that race until towards the end. And Elliott House taking a race 3 win. Battling with Lee Horn in those final phases. Jonas Lindberg real close to Matej Zenko. Lindberg has dropped behind Zenko. Not sure where the move happened, but Zenko is up into 7th position. Horn real close to Kernahan. Kernahan getting a bit closer to Neil Crave. This is, oh, Neil,
Oh, Lee Horn had a very good exit from the corner, but couldn't keep the inside. But this is one of those battles where they're all so level on pace, they can't find a way past one another. And the gap between Purkis and Berera has stretched to over a second. Purkis is quicker. Let's see who's got the fastest lap of the two. Won't be able to show it on the screen. In fact, it's not even letting me see the alternate UI here, so I don't know who's had fastest lap. We'll find out when the results pop up after the race. Oh, something's happened to Mark Arrowsmith. He's out of the race. He's just reverted to the pits, so we couldn't see what happened. But that is a DNF for Mark Arrowsmith, which will not help his AM Championship bid. 7th in the AM category championship. He needs more points to be catching up. He was 3rd last season in the category. Jamie Dory up into 15th. The comeback continues. He's within 5 seconds of 10th place, but time is running out for him. Probably only 2 laps to go in this race, give or take. It very much depends how, around about what time remaining Jeff Purkis will get himself to the line here. Less than a second between Berera and Purkis. It does fluctuate between those two drivers, but at the end of the day, Purkis is leading and has led for most of the race, and has not really had much threat from Berera. This is on board with Kernahan, trying a late apex through most westward corner on the circuit. Oh, and very wide there is Neil Craig. He'll guard the inside, but this could be a very important undercut from David Kernahan. Will the slipstream work going down the straight here? David Kernahan, 4th place. Not much time remaining. In fact, I think there will be 2 more laps after this one. What a great camera angle that is on a dolly or drone shot. And no, Kernahan couldn't get himself up the inside of Neil Crave going into the final corner there. Crave hangs on. Maybe 2 laps remaining for these drivers. As we mentioned, the top 10 will be reversed to form the grid for the next race, and that is still held by Fraser Roston. Stephen de Grevelia trying desperately to catch up, but it's not quite working out for him at the moment. Fraser Roston is keeping him at bay. Oh, something's going on between Kernahan and Lee Horn. I think Lee Horn went for a move but couldn't quite complete it. Kernahan stays 4th. But Lee Horn, don't blame him, he's getting a bit desperate now, trying to make that position up. If he can't get Neil Crave, he can try and at least get David Kernahan, will be what's on his mind. The top 5 here are the top 5 in the championship, not in that order, but Lee Horn being the 5th of them, finishing in this race, losing more points than all of them, of course. That will be what's on his mind, but there's another race coming up. He might finish ahead of these drivers in that race. That's the beauty of touring car championships with reverse grids. Reverse grids aren't everyone's liking, but it does mix things up, literally. Just keep an eye on Jamie Dory. He's up to 13th. Really is hitting the marks here, and he's only 3 seconds back from Fraser Roston. There'll be 1 more lap to go as Jeff Purkis, although this is going to be close. Well, that was very close, but Jeff Purkis will have 1 more lap here. Lee Horn right behind David Kernahan. They both drop back a little bit from Neil Crave. That's because they're both trying desperately for 4th place. Ollie Jansen's had a good race here. 6th place for him. That will be 2nd best result of him for the season. His best result since Monza Race 2, which was near 2 months ago. Trying different lines, trying to get himself a good undercut. Oh, and something's happened. Jürgen Madsby Pedersen has run wide coming out of turn 3. He's dropped down behind 10th place. and he'll have to fight back, and De Gravelia didn't have a good exit from the corner there, so something happened to Jürgen and he's dropped down a bit. He's trying the outside of De Gravelia. This is the battle for 10th. Oh, and Jürgen's gone off. He's hit the grass and that sent him off wide. That will relinquish his battle for 10th place, and up into 11th goes Jamie Dory. It's not out of the question. 10th is in sight for Jamie Dory. He's only got Stephen De Gravelia to get past, and Stephen is really hammering it down today. In the top 10, reverse grid pole is on the cards for him, which usually De Gravelia isn't a candidate for in this first race. But we must revert to the end. What have we just seen? Something happened then between Jeff Purkis and William Berera. Berera's on the inside and rolled over. Well, what a strange... I wish we were watching that. What a strange end to the race that was. But Jeff Purkis comes through to win it. And Berera eventually takes second place. But that's something we definitely wanted to keep our eyes on. But coming through for reverse grid pole, as we were just covering, it does end up going to Stephen De Gravelia. Very hard fought for that 10th place. A mistake from Jürgen Mansby-Pedersen at the end. But Jeff Purkis, might have been a controversial way of doing it, but I don't know, we didn't see it, we can't really judge. But he takes the win here at race 1 of the night. And fastest lap went to Jamie Dory with his comeback through the field. So Jeff Purkis first, followed by William Berera and Neil Craven third. David Kernahan hangs on to 4th ahead of Lee Horn. Ollie Janssen, 6th position for him, with Jonas Lindberg in 7th. Matěj Zenko in 8th, followed by Fraser Rostens. Stephen De Gravelia taking reverse grid pole for the next race. Elliot House in 11th, followed by Jamie Dory with his comeback from the back. I think he started from the pits. Jürgen Mansby-Pedersen, a mistake on the final lap, dropped to 13th, with Coleman Corkery in 14th, Roy Plummer 15th, Andrea Balcio in 16th, with Ian Deeney and Mark Arrowsmith not finishing the race. We will be going for a very quick break, but when we come back, it will be race 2 of the night. 15-minute race coming up very shortly. Don't go away. The GP Box is an online marketplace for motorsports, merchandise and memorabilia. Browse for a whole range of motorsports products in all forms of motorsport. Take Formula 1 for example. There is a whole section dedicated to Formula 1 products from your favourite drivers, cars, teams or tracks from all eras of Formula 1. There are more series available, including WRC if you are a rally fan. You can even search for your favourite form of motorsport to see what products they have in your favourite forms of motorsport. Or, if yourself are a retailer in motorsport, you could set up your own shop within the GP Box to open up your products to a much bigger motorsport audience. Find out more at thegpbox.com.
Welcome back everyone to Moscow Raceway, the FIM layout for the World Touring Car Challenge, presented to you by Crest Autosport and NXTGEN Racing. Race 2 coming up very, very shortly, and we'll go through the results of that previous race. And I did have a little bit of a chat in the driver Discord channel. Yeah, so that final corner between Jeff Purkis and William Berera, according to one of two parties, there was a little bit of a dive bomb thrown on the final lap there. So, yeah, might be one for the stewards after, but either way, they kept their position. So, yeah, it remains to be seen what will happen with that. I'm not one to adjudicate right now. I'm just a commentator today. But these were the results from the race, and bear in mind the top 10 of these finishers will be reversed to form the grid for the next race. So without further ado, Stephen de Grevelier will start on pole position for this race, followed by Fraser Rostens. Matt Zenko will start third, followed by Jonas Lindberg. Fifth will start Ollie Jansen, followed by Lee Horn in sixth. Seventh will start David Kernahan, and Neil Crave will start in 8th position. 9th will start William Berera, with 10th place going to race 1 winner Jeff Purkis. Elliot House will start 11th, followed by Jamie Dory in 12th. Jürgen Matby Pedersen 13th, followed by Coleman Corkery. Roy Plum will start 15th, with Andrea Balsio in 16th, Ian Deeney 17th, and Mark Arrowsmith will start 18th. We're about to get underway for race 2 at the night for the World Touring Car Challenge, presented by Crest Autosport and NXTGEN Racing here at Moscow Raceway for round 7 of the championship. Welcome along to Crest Autosport TV and NXTGEN Racing TV. Do give us a like, follow, share, and or subscribe from wherever you are watching. Very much appreciated. Drivers line up on the grid, and already they are gridded up. That is Stephen de Grevelier on the left side, and on the right it is Fraser Rostens. Lights are red. Away we go. It looked like a pretty good start from Stephen de Grevelier. Away we go. No one gets a drive-through for a jump start, and everyone seems to get away rather well. Stephen de Grevelier leads going into turn 1. Through the corner we go. And not much change so far. We have a little bit of a swap between David Kernahan and Ollie Jansen. Ollie Jansen drops behind Lee Horn and David Kernahan. Probably a bad start for him there, but on the inside, Fraser Rostens gets very sideways, cuts across the track to try and guard his position, and just covers off Matt Zenko there. Through they go. Grevelier still leads on this early part of the lap in the Chevrolet here, which, as we mentioned, is very well favoured to this part of the track. Over the hill we go and through turn 7. Fraser Rostens getting very close to the rear of Stephen de Grevelier. A little bit of a concertina effect between the top 3 there as we come round the section. Getting very close to the DHL Chevrolet there, driven by de Grevelier. Belgian driving the Dutchman's car of Tom Coronel, one of the most popular drivers of World Touring Cars over the years. Plenty of big shots here as we go through the main part of the circuit, and down the main straight we go. De Grevelier still leads. All the drivers peel out of turn 12. Down the straight we go. De Grevelier comes across the track to try and break the slipstream. Back over to the right as we approach the braking zone of the final corner.
Not quite getting over to the far right of the circuit. Lots of shuffling of positions. William Berera has got himself into 7th place already. Past Ollie Hansen, past Neil Crave. Jeff Perkins is down to 11th with Jamie Dory on the charge. Up 2 places already is Jamie Dory. And we don't have Mark Arrowsmith in the service, so there are 17 drivers running. Therefore, it will be at most a 17 reverse grid for the final race of the night later on. Jonas Lindberg getting in there, getting his elbows out. 4th place for him right now, right ahead of Lee Horn. This is a track that's quite difficult to overtake on, as we're seeing from Fraser Rostons. He's got Stephen de Grevelier right ahead of him, but not able to make moves just yet. Braking nice and early, trying to get a good shape through this corner as de Grevelier goes very wide. Have to serve a slowdown penalty, but he stays ahead of Fraser Rostons for now. Oh, and actually going back here, this is Lee Horn as he makes his way past Jonas Lindberg, who went a little bit wide. On the inside of him is David Kernahan as well. As through into 5th place goes Kernahan. Lindberg makes one mistake and he loses 2 places in 2 corners. That's how detrimental this circuit can be to you sometimes. We are looking at Fraser Rostons. Eventually we'll see him. Come on, camera. Up we go, up we go. Let's try a different camera. This is the view from above. Matej Zenko fairly close. Pulls out. Might go for a move. Can't quite make it. Oh, and actually Stephen de Grevelier very, very early on the brakes. And Zenko gets ahead of Fraser Rostons. Rostons had to evade Stephen de Grevelier. Braking much earlier than he'd anticipated. Grevelier hangs on. Goes a little bit wide there. Not a slowdown penalty. Zenko's on the inside going into turn 2. Zenko muscles his way through. A new change of the lead. Zenko takes the lead. Lee Horn has got himself into 4th place past Lindberg, and Kernahan's got past as we saw earlier on. Oh, and wide there went Zenko. Very scruffy through the corner there. Fraser Rostons has got his way past de Grevelier as a result. And it bunches up between these 3, with Lee Horn joining the party as well. Very close between this top 6 at the moment. 7 almost. In fact, it is the top 7 as William Berera is at the back here. Oh, and wide goes Stephen de Grevelier. Hit the crest a little bit too hard, and that sent him out wide, and that loses what contention he had for the win at the moment, as he loses down to 7th place now. Neil Crave trying to get it up the inside of the Belgian driver. Through goes Neil Crave into 7th place. William Berera with a good charge here. 2nd place in race 1 and 6th place at the moment here. You'll be pleased with this progress thus far. Horn with a big slipstream behind the Honda of Fraser Rostons there, pulls over to the inside for the corner, the final corner. Fraser Rostons trying to shut the door but can't do it. Lee Horn gets through into 2nd place he goes. What a race he's having here. Now he can set his sights on Matej Zenko. This is important for Lee Horn as he lost out to a couple of his championship rivals, and Fraser Rostons back up the inside, sends the Chevrolet out to the exit at the corner, but that actually relinquishes a position to David Kernahan. Down into 4th place goes Fraser Rostons. Guarding now from Jonas Lindberg and William Berera. And Lindberg has just let through Berera. Getting the undercut is Lindberg, but he's held up by Rostons on the apex of the corner. Berera hangs on to the inside of Lindberg and will peel through into 5th place. A lot of contact between these drivers here. A lot of door banging. Neil Crave side by side with Jamie Dory, but Dory's not able to get it up on the inside. Jeff Burke is fighting back. He's up to 9th now. Having a very good race here from 9th to 5th so far, and I don't think his charge has ended just yet. Fraser Rostons right ahead of him. Rostons will be keen to get back the top 3 places. Neil Crave going a bit shallow into turn 12 there. Jamie Dory right behind, gets a slowdown penalty for running too wide. The big 27 number right in our way here, but that is Neil Crave right ahead of us. And you can just see how quick that ladder is down the straighty, and all Jamie Dory can do is just keep his foot down and hope he doesn't get overtaken. That's how underpowered that Chevrolet can be. Oh, a big undercut was on the cards there for Jamie Dory, but the field bunched up a little bit. He wasn't able to get by. There's Neil Crave alongside Jonas Lindberg there, and also we've got William Berera alongside Fraser Rostons to take 4th place. Yes, he does. And Neil Crave gets himself ahead of Jonas Lindberg. And now Jamie Dory's trying to get past Jonas Lindberg. He does. Into 7th he goes. What a race he's having. Lee Horn has caught up with Matej Zenko and is now going to challenge for that top spot. Lee Horn, who this season has had 1 win. That was at Paul Ricard. Matej Zenko, 12th in the championship, has won 2 races. Spa-Francorchamps, race 3. And then immediately the next race as Lee Horn is on his inside. Race 4, race 1. Round 4, race 1 winner was Matej Zenko, so he's had more wins to his name than Lee Horn. Lee Horn wants more to his name. That will help his championship. He's got his closest championship rival, or his main championship rival, not too far behind. He's got another one right behind him as well, in David Kernahan. Down this main straight we go. Now this might be a big opportunity for David Kernahan. Big slipstream ahead. He moves to the inside. Down the main straight we go. David Kernahan has got the inside well and truly. Can Lee Horn get later on the brakes? He's going to hang it around the outside. Power down, coming out of the corner. And Kernahan not giving much room, leaving Lee Horn on the outside there. And I think Kernahan might have taken 2nd place. Yes, he does. Into the position he goes. Zenko's dropped away a little bit, but they might be able to reel him back in. Big move that from David Kernahan as Lee Horn tries the inside almost immediately after. Ready for race turn 3. Not able to make it completely up the inside just yet. Neil Crave has dropped back a little bit for some reason. He's dropped back to 10th, back behind Stevie De Crivelli and only just ahead of Ollie Janssen. So something happened to him on that previous lap. Jamie Dory catching up, or caught up with Fraser Rostons, trying the outside around turn 7. That's going to be very difficult to do, but he's hanging on to it. But Fraser Rostons holds him off, defends well through the corner there. Lee Horn still trying desperately to get by David Kernahan, who's not too far behind Matej Zenko. Lee Horn goes a bit wide, coming out of turn 11. Never know that corner. Kernahan trying a late apex here. Power down, coming out of the corner. That was a very good exit from David Kernahan. Watching from above. He's going to drop away from Lee Horn. We know he'll do that. But can he get it alongside Matej Zenko? Not too sure if he can. Zenko defends the inside. Into the final corner we go. Kernahan's trying the outside. Will he try an undercut? Yes, he will. Oh, and he's got it up the inside. He has. He's got the inside for turn 1. And there's a battle going on behind between Jeff Perkins and Jamie Dory as well. And into first place goes David Kernahan. What a race he's having. A lot of these drivers are having a good race today, I've got to be honest. I've said that quite a bit. But what a charge this has been from David Kernahan. He's gone from 7th on the grid to 1st at the moment. I think it was 6th on the grid to 1st. Still good. Absolutely. Jamie Dory's put himself into 5th from 12th on the grid, and Jeff Perkins has got himself up from 10th to 6th. Not bad at all. William Berera up from 9th to 4th. He's catching up with this leading pack. 4 minutes to go. Berera might be able to try for another podium here, as running wide there goes Matt Zenko. And he'll let through his teammate as well. William Berera is into the top 3, literally just as we mentioned that. Through he goes. And Zenko probably realises, you know what, he's going for the championship. I better let him go. So now the top 3 in the championship are back in the top 3 here. Not in the same order, they're actually in reverse order. So for Kernahan and Horn, this is good. They're catching up on points to William Berera. Granted, only 2 or 4 points, but it's still points. Points, points, points. That's what you need. That's how Andy Prio won 3 World Touring Car Championships on the bounce from 05 to 04. 05 to 07. And something to remember, if all racers in this race finish, it will be a full reverse grid. Andrea Balcio at the back of them, quite a long way down, but if he maintains this and still finishes the race, he'll get pole position for the next race. Lee Horn on the inside of Kernahan. He's got it up the inside, but Kernahan has the inside for the next corner. Lee Horn has just got it back in front though. He gets his bumper ahead of the front bumper of Kernahan, and into the lead goes Lee Horn. Very unexpected move, but brilliantly done from Lee Horn. This is a brilliant battle between Kernahan and Horn. It was in race 1, it still is in race 2, and there's been a few races this season where these two have locked horns in a good way. And the underpowered Chevrolet leads ahead of 3 charging Ladas here. Defying a lot of odds here is Lee Horn. Kernahan will fight back though. 2 minutes to go. It might be the penultimate lap we're on here. Lee Horn needs to get a good exit from this corner. There's the view from Lee Horn, and he moves straight over the track to try and break the slipstream. Breaks it again, and you can see the Lada edging towards. That Chevrolet might not be close enough. The Lada has significantly weaker brakes, and the Chevrolet's pretty good on them. Lee Horn holds the position. He'll be relieved about that, but there will be one more time he has to go down that main straight. It will be one more lap here at Moscow Raceway, 1 lap less than the previous race. Horn is first, Kernahan is second, Berera third, Zenko is in fourth, Jamie Dory is not too far behind in fifth as well. This main complex, the Chevrolet should be better, but actually the Ladas have done okay on this section of the track today. Snaking through the twisty Moscow Raceway first sector. Across the curbs we go as well. Now a fast section of the track. Lee Horn stays in front. Not too much threat from the Ladas behind just yet. Guards the inside, moves over to take the very fast left-hander of turn 7 here. Didn't take all the apex, but he didn't need to. He's guarded off pretty well for this next complex of corners. No moves just yet from Berera and Zenko. Very close together. Zenko's probably not going to threaten Berera as they are teammates. But Dory will definitely, at the back here in 5th place, will definitely want to help out his teammate of Lee Horn by trying to get ahead of the 2 drivers ahead and drop their points tally. Out of the penultimate corner goes Lee Horn. We'll go with the rear wing camera again to see if the Lada breaks closer. And in fact, it's around about the same distance as it was on the previous lap. Here comes David Kernahan to the inside, now swapping to the outside. Will he be able to outbrake Lee Horn going into the final corner here? No, he won't. Lee Horn will hold it. Can David Kernahan get a good exit from this corner? No, he can't. Lee Horn will come across the line. And he'll take the checkered flag to take his 2nd win of the season. And a brilliant battle between him and David Kernahan for the top spot there. He takes his win. And finally he's back on that top step of the podium. David Kernahan fought very hard to try and get his 3rd win of the season, but it was not to be, but still a podium finish for him. William Berera with a brilliant charge through from 9th place to 3rd place. Another podium for the Italian driver. That'll be podium number 10 of the season for Mr. Berera. Matteo Zenko in 4th, followed by Jamie Dory charging from 12th. And there we go, all finishers have come through. And here's another fastest lap for Jamie Dory, but the race win going to Lee Horn, who hasn't had a win since Paul Ricard about 5 weeks ago. Kernahan takes 2nd from William Berera. And Matteo Zenko in 4th. Jamie Dory 5th, followed by Jeff Perkis. Neil Craven 7th, followed by Fraser Roston. Stephen de Gravelia in 9th, another top 10 finish for him. Elliot House 10th, breaking into the top 10 in that race. Lindberg in 11th, followed by Matsby Pedersen. Ollie Hansen in 13th, followed by Roy Plummer. Coleman Corkery takes 15th from Ian Deeney. Andrea Balcio taking 17th and will therefore being the last of the finishers, will take reverse grid pole position for the final race of the night. So there we go. That has been the second race of the night. This is the World Touring Car Challenge presented by Crest Autosport and NXTGEN Racing. We'll be back very, very shortly for what will be the feature race, a 25-minute race coming up very, very shortly. We'll be back on air in approximately 5 to 10 minutes time for that final race. Don't go away. We'll be right back. The GP Box is an online marketplace for motorsports merchandise and memorabilia. Browse for a whole range of motorsports products in all forms of motorsport. Take Formula 1 for example. There is a whole section dedicated to Formula 1 products from your favourite drivers, cars, teams or tracks from all eras of Formula 1. There are more series available, including WRC if you are a rally fan. You can even search for your favourite form of motorsport to see what products they have in your favourite forms of motorsport. Or, if yourself are a retailer in motorsport, you could set up your own shop within the GP Box to open up your products to a much bigger motorsport audience. Find out more at thegpbox.com.
The GP Box is an online marketplace for motorsports merchandise and memorabilia. Browse for a whole range of motorsports products in all forms of motorsport. Take Formula One for example. There is a whole section dedicated to Formula One products from your favourite drivers, cars, teams or tracks from all eras of Formula One. There are more series available, including WRC if you are a rally fan. You can even search for your favourite form of motorsport to see what products they have in your favourite forms of motorsport. Or, if yourself are a retailer in motorsport, you could set up your own shop within the GP Box to open up your products to a much bigger motorsport audience. Find out more at thegpbox.com. Welcome back everyone to Moscow Raceway for the World Touring Car Challenge presented by Crest Autosport and NXTGEN Racing. And of course a huge thank you to our sponsored affiliates Apex Traxs, PowerMax Racing, Track Racer, Fast R, 603 Autosport and Joyce Design. As we mentioned, we're here in Russia for the Moscow Raceway, the biggest country in the world, hosting the biggest sim championship in the world, if only. The FIM layout is tonight's destination. Slightly varying layout to the Grand Prix circuit, missing out the chicane that would be turns 7, 8 and 9. And this track only costs £2.52 to buy on RaceRoom, has 13 turns, 5 to the right, 8 to the left, and hosted the race of Russia, not the race of Austria, but to only 13 to 2016. Tonight we have the WTCC 2015, 2016 and 2017 categories from RaceRoom. The 4 manufacturers you can see here, excluding the Chevrolet CLEC, and it is the Chevrolet Cruze, the Honda Civic, Lada Vesta and the Volvo S60 Polestar we are seeing on display today. We
have a 25-minute feature race coming up next. We've already been through the 15 minutes of qualifying, 15-minute sprint race 1 and 15-minute sprint race 2. The feature race will come up very shortly for a 25-minute race, and the grid will be based on the results of race 2 with the top 18 reverse. And we will go through those results and the grid very, very shortly. This is the season we're undergoing at the moment, with 5 rounds left after tonight. Monza started us off all them weeks ago, and it was followed by Paul Ricard in France. Then we went north to Belgium for the Spa-Francorchamps circuit. We went southeast, then to Slovakia for the Slovakia Ring. Then we headed north to Hungary for the Hungaroring. And then we headed over to Russia in Central Europe for the Salzburg Ring, which took place 2 weeks ago from today. But today we are here at the Moscow Raceway, and after today we'll venture out of Europe and over the Atlantic to Sonoma in California. Then we'll head over to Japan for the Twin Ring Motegi circuit, a classic in the World Touring Car era. Shanghai, another classic from the World Touring Car era. The smaller WTCC intermediate layout will host round 10 of the championship. Round 11 will be hosted at the ultra-wide and ultra-fast Chang circuit, aka Buriram, in Thailand. And the Nordschleife 24-hour layout, the entirety of the Nürburgring complex, will host the final round of the championship. The Green Hell hosts on the 9th of December for what might be an alternated format for that race that day, but that will host the final round of the championship, and the winner of this championship will take away a model sculpture of the Nordschleife, crafted and manufactured by Apex Traxs themselves, the league sponsors here. And also the top 3 in the Pro and Am category championships will take away plaque prizes, like trophies but plaques, created by Uncle Luke's sign and sticker shop. So plenty of goodies to win, and you can still get involved in this championship if you want to. You probably won't have much of a chance of winning the championship at this point, but you can still get involved. You can head over to crestautosport.com or nextgenracing.co.uk, or contact us, either organisation, on Facebook to get involved in the series if you wish to. News on next season will be coming up over the next few weeks or so do keep an ear out of news from Crest Autosport and Next Gen Racing. We join the live action here at Moscow Raceway. A couple of drivers out on the track, getting a little bit more practice in. Ballast has shifted, which means the cars will handle a little bit differently for some drivers out there. But speaking of ballast, remember earlier we said we were going to hang on to the qualifying results as we may need to refer to them later on in the night. Well, actually, the ballast that the drivers carried into qualifying race 1 and race 2 will now change. And ballast is basically additional weight added to the car. Success ballast, some people call it. But the ballast weight appliances for race 3 are based on the qualifying results from earlier on in the night. And it is the same amount of ballast. So it starts from 40 kilograms and it runs across the top 10 in increments of 4. So Jeff Perkis, having qualified pole position earlier on in the night, will carry 40 kilograms on his car in this final race of the night. William Berera will carry 36, Neil Crave will carry 32, and so on. It runs down in increments of 4 across that top 10. So that is the ballast going into tonight's feature race. Meanwhile, the grid, based on the race 2 results, which these are not them. Very, very, very quickly and sharply and subtly, we will give you the race 2 results from just a few moments ago. And it was Lee Horn who took the win in that race, with David Kernahan in 2nd and William Berera in 3rd. Those are the top 3 in the championship, coincidentally. They take up the top 3 spots, not in the same order as the championship standings, but take up the top 3 nonetheless. It will be a reverse grid of the top 17 finishers, as 17 drivers finished race 2. So Andrea Balcio will start this next race from pole position, and alongside him will be Ian Deeney. Starting 3rd on the 2nd row will be Coleman Corkery, and alongside him will be Roy Plummer. 5th will start Ollie Hansen, with Jürgen Madsby Pedersen starting alongside him. On the 4th row will be Jonas Lindberg and Elliot House. On the 5th row will be Stephen de Gravelia and Fraser Rostance alongside him in 10th. Starting 11th will be Neil Crave. Alongside him will be the Race 1 winner, Jeff Perkis. Unlucky for some, but Jamie Dory, his lucky number is number 13, and he'll start 13th. And alongside him will be Maciej Zenko. Starting 15th will be William Berera, the championship leader coming into tonight, and alongside him will be David Kernahan. And on the back of the grid, it will be Lee Horn, and if he can make it into the server in time, it will be Mark Arrowsmith. So that is the grid for the race coming up in 1.5 minutes' time. Huge thank you to those watching tonight. There's been lots of people in the comments on YouTube. Thank you very much. Thank you for supporting the channel. Thank you for supporting the races, and thank you for supporting the racers. Very much appreciated. There's a lot of support on the channel for Maciej Zenko, a lot of support for the Warriors Motorsport outfit, Crest Autosport team being supported here, NXTGEN drivers being supported on the Facebook pages as well. Great to see you all along. And like I said earlier on, give us a like, share, follow and or subscribe from wherever you are watching. Very much appreciated, and it helps the algorithms of all the channels. And we have race 3, as we mentioned, coming up very, very shortly in less than a minute's time. Who's going to win this final race? We've had Jeff Perkis taking the victory in race 1, Lee Horn taking the victory in race 2. Who's going to win race 3? We've seen this driver here, Jamie Dory, charging through the field throughout the night. Can he take it? Will Jeff Perkis take a repeat win? Will Lee Horn take another win from the back of the grid? Will William Berera, the championship leader, take another win this season? Who will win? Will it be a brand new winner tonight? We will find out. And of course, do let us know in the comments throughout the night, throughout this next race, if there is one driver in particular who has impressed you more than any other, to nominate them for the Apex Traxs Driver of the Day award, which we will announce with a few minutes remaining in the final race coming up in a few seconds. So here we go, the sun's setting here in Moscow. This is the final race of the night for the World Touring Car Challenge, presented by Crest Autosport and NXTGEN Racing. Here at Moscow Raceway, this is the 7th round of the championship. Race 3 of the night. On behalf of Crest Autosport TV and NXTGEN Racing TV, welcome along to the stream. This 25-minute feature race should be a thrilling one. There hasn't been a single race this season that hasn't delivered. It's not going to come to an end. Something tells me it's been a lot of door rubbing tonight. Classic touring cars, but all drivers are on the grid. Andrea Balcio has put it on pole position here through reverse grid, and alongside him is Ian Deeney. Lights are red. Away we go. Is it a good start from Balcio? He comes across the track, and completely cards off Ian Deeney. Deeney might not be a bit happy about that, but Balcio nonetheless keeps the first spot going into the first corner. Him and Coleman Corkery went very wide there going through turn 1. Both have a slow down penalty and they will have to serve it. Through we go. Everyone makes it through turns 1 and 2 relatively safely so far. And look at all of it bunching up in the middle here. There is a driver going wide at the back there. That is Fraser Rostance, but he's able to get back on the track. Through they go, and look at it all bunch up between them all. And look at Jamie Dory right in the middle here, gaining a few places here. He's into 9th place already. Up the hill we go. Balcio leads the way from Ian Deeney. Oh, and wide he goes. I'm not sure if there was contact there, but Balcio will drop down to 3rd place. And on his inside goes Roy Plummer as well. Down into 4th he goes. Ian Deeney leads away. And Ian Deeney is just the king of getting to the front of the grid in reverse grid races. And might we see him on another run towards a race win? We might see it tonight again. Who knows? But it's very early to tell. Very early to tell. A lot going on here. Roy Plummer trying to get by Andrew Balcio. And a big shunt up the rear from Jonas Lindberg to say, get a move on, Roy, as it bunched up in the middle of the pack there. Good start for Lee Horn here. He's up a few places already. He's past Perkis, Kernahan and Zenko, and he's alongside William Berera. Look at all of this. It's 3 wide going down to this final corner. William Berera, Ollie Hansen and Matt Zenko going into the corner, the final corner here, and that is Neil Crave on the inside as well. Him and his teammate William Berera fighting it out, and they've also got Matt Zenko not too far behind them as well. In fact, directly behind Neil Crave is Zenko. Through turn 1 they go for the start of the second lap here at Moscow Raceway. Not too much to report here as Lee Horn is still alongside Matt Zenko, and he'll have the inside for turn 3, probably the better line to have. If he can keep it on the inside, he can get his nose in front, which he does. Can he get his rear bumper in front? No, he can't, as Neil Crave holds up Lee Horn. There's a lot of puffs of smoke from brakes and screeching tyres there going into turn 3, which might have impaired a few drivers' visibility. But Lee Horn can't quite get it by Matt Zenko just yet. He's still alongside. He's on the other side of Matt Zenko now. He'll have the inside for turn 7. Tries to keep it on the inside. He's being pushed along by David Kernahan as well. Trying to keep hold of that inside. He couldn't quite make it. Perkis and Kernahan are side by side behind as well. This is only the battle for 13th, let alone what's going on up ahead as well. These are the main championship protagonists as well, fighting it out here. William Berera, good start to this race. He's already into the top 10. Jamie Dory has had a good start to this race as well. He's into 6th position. Dory has been coming through the field throughout the night. In fact, what happened to him in race 1, he didn't take to the grid because he thought it was the countdown to warm up, not the final countdown for the grid. Quite an odd mistake to make, but hey ho. It's been an opportunity for Jamie Dory to show his craft. That's definitely got to be said, as Lindberg makes a move on Andrea Balcio, the pole sitter of this race. And through he goes. Oh, and there's a big incident at the back. Zenko goes off into the tyres, and Fraser Rostens was involved as well. Fraser Rostens carries on. Zenko is in the wall, and he reverses out through the gravel trap. Is he able to keep it going? The wheels are spinning, and the gravel traps are not quite like real life here. They're a little bit more artificial, shall we say. So Zenko got off a bit lucky there, but not so much. He says a long way down the order, and that might have compromised the potential of a good result in this race for Matej Zenko. The race rages on. Ian Deeney leads the way, nearly a second clear of Coleman Corkery, who has got Roy Plummer to worry about right behind him. Stays in front for the time being. Back here we have got Jamie Dory all over the rear of one of 2 Italian drivers in the field, Andrea Balcio. And he has got Elliot House right behind him, hounding him as well. Elliot House, who was the winner of race 3 last time out at Salzburg Ring. Dory nips to the inside. Balcio gives him room on the inside, and Jamie Dory's got to keep the inside for the next corner. It's Chevy versus Chevy. Flash of the lights there of Jamie Dory, even to say I'm not happy with what you've done. Either that or he's trying to put off the other driver ahead. And he couldn't quite get an undercut there, could Jamie Dory, as Elliot House had snuck on his inside. Elliot House will have the much more powered ladder as he gets alongside Jamie Dory here. Towards the final corner we go. It will be a 3 wide situation. Yes, it is. Andrea Balcio is trying to nip back to the inside, but Jamie Dory breaks through, and in front of the 2 of them, he gets into 5th place. What a race Jamie Dory is having so far. And Matej Zenko has had another spin. In fact, I think that's fairly early on in the lap. I'm not sure why he's sitting in the middle of the track. It will be a local yellow flag here. That is coming out of turn 3. He's just sitting on the side there, not too sure what's going on. This is very strange indeed. All the drivers peel through. That is the last of the running drivers. Fraser Rostens, he takes a little bit of a spin, half spin. And Zenko, oh dear, yeah, something's not right there. Might be a disconnection of some sort for Matej Zenko. But sadly, it's a race ended for him. Ian Deeney still leads. He's breaking clear of Coleman Corkery here. Ian Deeney's really good at this. Leading from the front, he's very, very good at it. It's when he's in the mid-pack, he tends to struggle a little bit. But when he's out on his own, he's blisteringly quick. Particularly when drivers are battling behind, such as Coleman Corkery and Roy Plummer here. That allows Ian Deeney to break away. Lee Horn's big charge at the start of the race has slowed a little bit as he's stuck behind fellow championship rivals Neil Crave and David Kernahan. He's just ahead of race 1 winner Jeff Burke, so the 2 race winners of tonight are 12th and 13th. William Berera is having a great night at the moment. 2 podiums so far, and he's about to break into 6th place past Elliott House. Through he goes, and he takes 6th place. Next driver in line is Jamie Dory. And I'm very interested to see a battle between Berera and Jamie Dory as the race transpires. Corkery still all over the rear of Roy Plummer. In fact, it has been a position swap between these two without us noticing. Without me noticing, anyway. And Coleman drops down to 3rd place and Roy Plummer into 2nd place. This is good for Roy Plummer as he has not got many AM category championship drivers around him. The nearest is Elliott House in 7th. So this is good points for Roy Plummer. Position swap. Andrea Balsio has dropped behind Lee Horn, and Jeff Burke is trying the inside of the Italian, bustling his way to the inside, trying not to waste much time. Behind Balsio here is Jeff Perkins. He does not want Lee Horn to stretch away. And Ollie Hansen, he's had a bit of a skip in his step today. Oh, and we got Lee Horn on trying the inside of Neil Cravers. Neil Cravers run very wide there. Back out onto the track. Oh, and the two came together, the 2 teammates. Warrior Motorsports came together there. That was Crave and Balsio coming together. It just seemed to be a case where Crave was coming back on the track. Balsio wasn't prepared for it. But the 2 got away with it, and in fact Neil Crave has let by his teammate as a way of saying sorry. That's very good sportsmanship there from Neil Crave. He's guarding off from Stephen de Gravelia here. We've got Ollie Hansen trying to make his way past Balsio now. Not quite there yet. Jamie Dory has broke into 4th place. He's passed Jonas Lindberg at some point in the last lap, and now Jamie Dory is charging towards the top 3. He's only 3 seconds behind the leader. Oh, and he's not too far behind 2nd and 3rd. Sideways going into turn 3. The 2 drivers to keep an eye on right now are definitely Jamie Dory and William Berera. The 2 fastest cars on the track right now. Jamie Dory has been the fastest lap holder in both races so far. You have got to put your money on, well, if you want to put your money on him, he's certainly one of the favourites for this race. Berera has just had a masterclass tonight as well. Berera throughout the season has gained, not including tonight's races, 33 places, not the most of the field, 4th most. But he's had the most wins, the most podium finishes, and the most pole positions, and the most fastest laps. And he's leading the championship, so he is the one with the target on his back, it's got to be said, as Jamie Dory has now got alongside Coleman Corkery. As we head down towards the final corner, Coleman with a little bit more straight line speed. Something's happened to Neil Crave. He's dropped down the order, down into 16th. I think he's retired, but Jamie Dory kept it on the inside of Coleman Corkery and breaks into the top 3 now. And under pressure from Jonas Lindberg here is Coleman Corkery. Lindberg holds the inside, but it's not the best line to have for this first corner here at Moscow. Stays in 5th at the moment is Jonas Lindberg. Out of this race is Neil Crave. Not too sure what's happened to him, but it's a bad night. Well, it's a bad race for Warriors Motorsport as 2 of their 5 drivers are out of this race. 2 out of their 4 drivers, excuse me, are out of this race. Oh, and Lindberg with a big lunge up the inside on Coleman Corkery. Corkery shuts the door in the similar livery Honda Civic there. Both the Zengu Motorsport liveries. William Berera right all over the rear of Jonas Lindberg here. Guarding the inside going into turn 7, but William Berera got a better line through the corner. Might he be able to nip up the inside? He tried it, but Lindberg covered it off on the inside there. And all over the rear of William Berera is Elliott House, and we know Elliott House is no slouch. Likes to get his elbows out, likes to get in amongst the action. He will not be afraid to put in a move on the championship leader. Will the AM category championship leader. Jamie Dory has caught up to Roy Plummer. But breaking away still is Ian Deeney. Still a 3-second gap between Jamie Dory and Ian Deeney. And William Berera is dropping back a little bit from Jamie Dory. This will affect his chances of winning this race, as Coleman Corkery is on the inside, guarding off William Berera, trying to keep it ahead of Jonas Lindberg as well. There's contact between Berera and Coleman Corkery. Into the gravel goes Coleman. And he's getting it back on the track. He can't go on too quickly onto the track as Lee Horn was there, and there wasn't too much contact between them. And there seemed to be a little bit of a nudge from the rear of William Berera that sent Coleman Corkery off. But Coleman was moving around a little bit on the track. It might have confused the Italian driver who was behind him. Oh, and something's happened to Elliot House. Something's happened to Elliot House. He is now out of the race. He was running well right behind William Berera, who is now in 4th place. So very strange couple of corners indeed. Berera now moves into 4th place and can set his sights on the top 3 spots. Dory has got himself ahead of Roy Plummer amongst all the action then, and now has 3 seconds to catch up to Ian Deeney. So here we go. 2.8 seconds for Jamie Dory to catch up. William Berera is broken clear of most of the battling. There's a lot of dirt on the track as well, which will be disturbing the grip on the cars here. Berera has got to get the hammer down to try and catch up with this top 3 here. Lee Horn, the race 2 winner, with the race 1 winner right behind him. They're in 7th and 8th. They've been pretty much nose to tail for much of this race here. Burke sets to the outside to try and get it round the outside of Lee Horn, but he's been covering that inside very, very well tonight. Despite the top end speed of the Larders, Lee Horn's been able to defend very, very well for most of these drivers. Outside line from Jeff Perkis, but not able to get around Lee Horn. 3 retirements from this race: Zenko, Crave and House. Was a game crash for Machisenko, I am reading. And it was a disqualification for Neil Crave. Rotten luck for the Warriors Motorsport drivers tonight. But I'm sure they're going to bounce back at Sonoma. They're a very, very, very strong team. Very new team, but a very strong team. Very well in this championship and looking to do numbers in the world of RaceRoom esports as well. Right, so a breakdown of the order so far as we have 10 minutes to go in this race. Ian Deeney leads. If he takes this, it'll be his 3rd win of the season. And Jamie Dory is in 2nd place. Roy Plummer is in 3rd. William Berera is 4th. Kernahan is 5th, followed by Jonas Lindberg. The 2 race winners so far tonight, Lee Horn and Jeff Perkis, 7th and 8th. Coleman Corkery, after the incident with William Berera 2 laps ago, is 9th. He's followed by Ollie Hansen, also in the Honda. Fraser Rostant in 11th. He had an incident earlier on in the race with Zenko as well. Jürgen Matsby Pedersen is 12th, and he's trying the inside of Fraser Rostant's here. Also there is Bausio and de Gravelia. But Pedersen gets it on the inside and through on Fraser Rostant's. Good racing between them two there. No contact at all, which is great to see. But they've also got de Gravelia and Bausio battling with them as well. Brilliant to watch. But we do have a battle to keep an eye on as Lee Horn has relinquished the position to Jeff Perkis. Probably not willingly relinquished. Or as Lee Horn powered his way out of the corner a little bit too hard there, trying a bit too eagerly to get onto the throttle there. Jamie Dory is getting real close to Ian Deeney. The last couple of laps have been very quick for Jamie Dory. We've seen that time on the timing tower tumble down because he's getting nearer and nearer to the fellow Brit. Ian Deeney, who has won race 3 at Paul Ricard some weeks ago. He had a second place at race 3 at Spa-Francorchamps, and he won race 2 at Salzburg Ring. So Dini knows how to rack up podium finishes, knows how to rack up wins, but so does Jamie Dory. 2 wins to his name this season and 8 podium places. This is the closest he's been. Very, very close indeed. Certainly quicker than Ian Dini. Looking always, trying the outside here at turn 3. We'll try an undercut coming out of turn 3, but this will take him to the outside. Oh, and he's going to hang on to the outside. He might be able to keep it there. He'll have the inside for the next 2 corners. Through goes Jamie Dory. What a move from him to take the lead in this race. With 7.5 minutes to go, Jamie Dory takes a very, very well executed overtake that lasted a few corners, but it was exactly what he needed to get by Ian Dini there. Ian Dini, who might have used up too much of his tyres too early. But Jamie Dory has been super quick tonight, and if he had gridded up properly in race 1, his results could have been even better. That's the painful thing about this. William Berera, while we were watching the change of the lead there, has taken 3rd place from Roy Plummer. And David Kernahan is easing on 4th place here. But Berera, in 3rd place here, could make it a triple podium. In fact, just looking through the stats for the season so far, 2 drivers have had 3 podiums in one night this season. One of them was William Berera at his home track of Monza, and the other was Jamie Dory, who got his 3-peat of podiums at Slovakia Ring. But William Berera, 3 podiums tonight means he's almost certainly going to extend his championship lead. And this is why he's at the top of the standings. He just puts in performances like these. Watching Lee Horn here. He's dropped back a bit from one of his rivals, Jeff Perkis, and is behind Jonas Lindberg. Desperately to get himself into 7th place. Lee Horn, who's had a pretty decent night. 5th place in race 1, a race win in race 2. But he'll definitely want slightly higher positions here, as he knows one of his championship rivals is up in the top 3. And he has got David Kernahan up ahead, who's 3rd in the championship, not too far behind him. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, we are getting towards the end of the race where we will need to be deciding our Driver of the Day award. Is there anyone you'd like to nominate? Do let us know. I certainly do think that it is between William Berera and Jamie Dory tonight, so let's... Well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to do this for the first time on YouTube anyway. Won't be able to do it on the other channels, unfortunately. But who is our Driver of the Day tonight? You can vote via a poll I've just put on the YouTube chat. So head over to there to have a look at it if you really want to put your vote in, or just let us know in the comments. Either way, that is fine. We'll count up the votes on the YouTube poll. As the race rages on, look at this, Lee Horn trying the inside of Lindberg, and actually he got the inside there into that corner. holds the inside still. Lindberg trying to fight back still rather desperately, but no, has to relinquish it. Horn gets himself into 7th place. It took a while for him to execute that move there, but he managed it. At the front with 3 and a bit minutes to go, Jamie Dory is hurtling towards win number 3 of the season. Surprising it's only that many. It's been very, very quick this season. And finally a season where he's able to take part in quite a few races. Work commitments have got him in the way in previous seasons, but this is one where Jamie Dory, with good results, can put himself into championship winning territory. He's always had the pace for it, and he's shown that tonight. But also our other candidate for driver of the day has been putting in a fantastic shift tonight. 3 podiums thus far. We have 2 votes so far on YouTube, both going to William Berera as our driver of the day. Rather unsurprising, he has had a good night of getting through the field. 3 podiums. Not too long to go in this race. The field is rather dispersed. Not many close battles. Roy Plummer and Jeff Burke is one of the closest battles. Burke is breaking into the top 5. What a night he's had, by the way. We've got to give him credit. He's also driven brilliantly tonight. With a win in race 1, I think he got near the top 5 in race 2. Can't quite remember. I will flash the results up just to remind myself. Yeah, Jeff Burke has got 6th. Yeah, near the top 5. So a good result. Good results for him tonight. Absolutely. Leon with a win in race 2 as well. He's had a good night as well, but I don't think it's all over just yet as Jamie Dory starts his final lap here. William Berera has not given up. He has not settled for 3rd. He is trying again for another position. He might be able to break himself into 2nd. He might be able to get himself into 2nd, which will take home every piece of type of silverware you can get on the podium. Except for gold. Yeah, just realised he hasn't won a race. What am I talking about? For silver again, like what he did in race 1. And I think he's found the inside as he heads over the crest and into turn 7. Late on the brakes, through he goes. William Berera takes the position and into 2nd place he goes. And because we are near the end of this race here, I'm going to call an end to the poll. And therefore, I'm going to award our driver of the day. It's not going to. No, that's not it. Something's wrong with our UI, but our driver, Apex Traxs Driver of the Day award is going to William Berera. What a night he's had. But what a night this person has had as well. Another contender for Driver of the Day. But Jamie Dory will come through to take his 3rd win of the season, and what a drive he's had tonight. Starting from the pits in race 1, he got himself through the field to take a win here in this 3rd race of the night. William Berera with his 3rd podium of the night. 2 seconds and a 3rd. Couldn't quite get the win tonight, but still big championship points for him. And Ian Deeney, another podium for him. 3rd place, a strong result for him. David Kernahan, a strong night for him. He's had many a top 5 position tonight. And Jeff Perkis, winner of the previous race tonight, as was Lee Horn in 6th place there. Roy Plummer in 7th. Highest of the AM category drivers in this race. There we go. Our race winner, giving us the donuts on the side of the track here at Moscow, putting on a bit of a show for the is that an empty grandstand? No, it's not. They're very 2-dimensional people, though. But laying some rubber down. Jamie Dory celebrating his win, and a well-deserved win. Caps off what's been a very strong night for Jamie Dory. And there are the results of race 3 of the night here from Moscow Raceway. Jamie Dory takes the win, but Jeff Purkis the fastest lap of the race. Our Apex Traxs Driver of the Day award, and second place in this race, William Berera. Ian Deeney third, with David Kernahan fourth, Jeff Purkis fifth. Lee Horn takes sixth from Roy Plummer in seventh, Jonas Lindberg in eighth, with Coleman Corkery taking ninth. Ollie Hansen in 10th, followed by Jurgen Mansby Pedersen and Stephen de Gravelli in 12th. Fraser Austin takes 13th from Andrea Basio in 14th. Non-finishers were Elliot House, Neil Crave, Matej Zenko. Your race winners tonight were Jamie Dory, Lee Horn and Jeff Purkis. And your Apex Traxs Driver of the Day, just to remind you, William Berera. Well, there we go, ladies and gentlemen. That has been the 7th round of the championship here at Moscow Raceway for the World Touring Car Challenge presented by Crest Autosport and NXTGEN Racing. Next week, we head off to Sonoma. We're heading over the Atlantic to the United States of America, the western coast, the golden state of California. Sonoma Valley hosts us for round 8 of the championship. We'll see you there in 1 week's time. Tune in from 1945 UK time, GMT 0, to catch all the action as it happens live. A huge thank you to our sponsors, Apex Traxs, PowerMax Racing, Track Racer, Fast R603 Autosport and Joyce Design. Thank you to all you fans watching on YouTube, Twitch and the Crest Autosport and NXTGEN Racing Facebook pages. Give us a like, share, follow and or subscribe from wherever you are watching is greatly appreciated. We'll see you next time at Sonoma. Thank you for watching. Good night.